Go ahead, Count, and introduce yourself and the stuff that you've been working on.
My name's Count. I'm a producer, mixer, remixer, engineer. I do everything that is required to make music recordings. I work with DJ Shadow and Galactic and Trombone Shorty, a lot of Bay Area hip-hop stuff like Lyrics Born and Blackalicious and some dancey stuff, some bizarre stuff that you can't really classify, like Zoe Keating. But yeah, you can look that stuff up on the web later. We have more important things to talk about than me.
Why don't we start with the role of the producer, what the producer is, what it's been for us in history, and what it should be in present.
All right, so for me, a producer is essentially the director of a film. So you're going to not just guide performance, you're going to guide the entire sound of whatever that recording is. So that may be mostly shaped, if you're a rock band, by the performance and a few other subtle things, and maybe how it's mixed. Whether you do that mixing yourself or not, you hire the person who does a certain thing during that mixing. But if it's another genre of music, like hip-hop, you might create and be acting more in the role of songwriter by creating the beat and actually, doing the programming. So for me, it depends, on what the genre is.
So they told you a lot of what a producer is. Here's what a producer isn't. Here's what a producer isn't. I get songs that come in the studio from a beat maker or the producer, so-called, and it shows up, and then a vocalist comes in and does a part, another vocalist comes in and does a part, another vocalist comes in and does a part, and then I mix that together after 5 different people with nobody directing any of them, and then I do the dropouts in the beat, I mix it, I master it, and it goes out, and the guy walks in that did the beat and said, "Look what I produced."
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So does that kind of sum it up for you a little bit? Because I produced about 90% of the mixes I've done in the end result. And that's not a good thing in my estimation, because I'd rather see people have hands-on and learn something. So that's why we need to clarify that so that you really know how to up your game and where to go to the next level in what you're doing and what it really means. Know your words, know what your parts are, and do those the best, and then move to the next part and beat that.
And that's actually very important, because I'm assuming that most of the room is up and coming, aspiring, and starting to work as producers. Yeah. That you should clarify that, whoever you're working with. If you're just doing a beat and maybe it's something you've already made, and you know a guy who's going to rap on it, and you want to hook him up with that beat, that's cool. I would make sure that you specify the role that you want to be. If you want to shepherd the project from, beginning all the way through, beyond just the beat, and really shape and guide the track, you should be clear about that. Yeah. So that, because, we're into like 2 decades now of a very, I would say it's quite a problem, quite a widespread problem, yeah. Particularly in hip-hop, mm-hmm. where people who actually produced this track don't get credited for it, whereas people who actually didn't produce it do get credit for it.
What is some of the equipment that's really, I just want to do this real quickly because this is a good thing for y'all. What plug-in, what equipment, what thing has really turned you, and made a difference?
I got an answer for that one, because actually somebody, when I was about 18 or 19 or 20, answered this question for me, and it wasn't what I wanted to hear. I was looking for a piece of gear because I had saved up about $1,500, and I was like, God, that's not really enough to get all I want to get. I need to get one thing. What should it be? And I asked somebody, and they said, well, where are you working? What's your room like? And I was like, well, I'm actually just building this for a project studio. It's going to be in my house. And he was like, don't buy gear. Fix your room up. And I was like, great, that sounds really sexy. Yeah. But in reality, you have no idea what you're doing until you have a room that you can hear what you're doing.
Right. Yep.
The $10,000 piece of gear is not going to do you any good if you can't hear what that piece of gear is doing. You can abuse, you can compress something too much, you can overdo the EQ, and that $3,000 EQ tube EQ you bought is meaningless because you used it in the wrong way. So
you couldn't hear it because you didn't have the
without
room.
question, for me, I spent a ridiculous amount of time. I mean, I studied architecture in school, so I was able to build and design acoustically a room within my house. Most people can't do that, but you can go the next level down, which is save up a few $1,000 and really fix up your room and get your, listening situation to where you know what you're actually getting. It's going to save you so much money, down the line too, because you're not going to be doing countless revisions to mixes, countless, remasters on. It's just going to pay for itself. It's not the sexy thing, but
It's the room.
it's the most important thing.